Hello, folks. Lex Cunningham here from the Pure Garbage Podcast. I'd like to say thank you to our many listeners. We'll be continuing our podcast as we go through the summertime. It'll die down a little bit. We've just gone through almost our first year, and the support has been amazing. In this particular podcast, we are talking NFL, the NFL ruling, the New York Jets and their owner. We're talking a little Pats football, referencing also to the Buffalo Bills, my team, that is, and then we're going to talk a little Johnny Manziel. But first, I wanted to say a special shout out to J.J. Watt. In this world where a lot of things are jaded and messed up and people have hidden agendas, particularly in sports and in politics, where you don't usually want the two to meet, you just want to enjoy a game. Along comes J.J. Watt. Mass shootings in the United States are pretty common now, unfortunately, and we hear about them way too much. This guy has millions of dollars, can put his head in the sand, play football, and enjoy his life big time. He manages to have the clarity and the proper sense of mind to take some of his resources and pay for the funerals of those that have been killed. So I just wanted to say a special shout out to J.J. Watt. Yes, we're a bunch of nobodies from Canada in this particular podcast, but I believe in good vibes. And in this case, I'm sending great vibes to you, Mr. Watt, for the example you're leading in your community down there in Texas. And wow, sensational. When I heard the news, even if he doesn't hear it, hopefully the vibes get to him. Now let's get on, folks, with the Pure Garbage Podcast, NFL Written Edition number 6.
Hi, this is Piper Blackwood.
And this is Veronica Fox.
Thank you for listening to the Pure Garbage Podcast.
All right, folks, Lex Cunningham here. Can you smell that, folks? That's the barbecue sizzling. Sizzling all throughout North America as we get ready for summer of 2018, which means training camp, which means NFL is around the corner, which means baseball, of course. But in this case, the NFL has a ruling, and I have with me the sizzling himself, the Boston Chowder, Jimmy O'Reilly.
Lexi, how goes it, buddy?
Goes very well, my friend. All right, as I said, the NFL has a ruling in which players are not permitted to take a knee unless they want their team fined.
I think it's a load of crack. It's a load of...
Crack is right.
You know.
Stick with
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Seeing is that the United States is a country that's, I guess, built on values of free speech, free expression, and so on and so forth. I think this is the NFL purely catering to the orange man in the White House. And I'd like to also add that their stipulation that if they want to take a knee, they just stay in the locker room. That's a load of BS, buddy.
Yeah.
Just a load of BS.
I find that a bit odd. A little too dictatorial for my liking. I like the days when everyone could just express themselves, whether you liked it or not. All right, so now the New York Jets, and saying all that, the New York Jets, their owner says no. Or sorry, he'll pay the fine.
He'll pay all the related anthem fine.
I never saw that coming out of the Jets.
You know my opinion on the Jets, but you know what? I take my hat off to their co-owner, Christopher Johnson, for coming out and saying what he said. He's going to stand by his guys, and he'll pay any fine that's levied on the team out of his own pocket. He will not take it from the team accounts. He will pay it out of his own pocket. He stands and backs up his players. That's what a true owner should do.
Yeah, back up his team. Therefore, now all they have to do is get out there and win. So
that's not going to happen.
Well, no, not in our division because the Bills have it, despite your thoughts.
Comic hour with Lex.
Okay. Okay, Chowder, all the way to New England. Your thoughts, Elderman. You say
Edelman?
Edelman and his knee. He had it injured. There were some problems, yada, yada, yada. Your thoughts now. He's saying it feels great. Will he be the player that he was last year or the year before this year?
He looks good so far in the voluntary OTAs that just took place last week. He looked great. He was running routes, cutting, doing everything he usually does without any pain in his knee whatsoever. So we're hoping that he's the old Julian Edelman from 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Jules the Squirrel.
The Squirrel. As you get older, it gets a little bit harder to make those cuts, or you're a little bit slower, and the league is a very young league. And I know when they come into Buffalo, he's going to get tested coming across the middle with his little dancing feet. CFL football, we don't normally talk about it here, but it involves a player that came up through college, was a sensation.
Garbage!
As you would say. Now he had a stint in Cleveland. If you don't know who I'm talking about, folks, you're going to, if you're especially in the Hamilton area. Johnny, where's my bottle? Menzel is now going to be a Hamilton Ticat.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're going to see on Friday night how that experiment will work out in their preseason game. To be honest with you, if that guy has his head on straight this time around, and is ready to play football and show the world, I think he's a great quarterback for the Canadian Football League. He reminds me a lot of Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
Size-wise.
Yeah.
He's got the arm strength.
Okay.
And we saw he has that raw talent when he played in Texas. Let's just see if he has his head on straight and if those Hamilton girls can lay off of him. If you know what I mean.
Hey. Anyway, yeah.
Hammer,
Okay. So out in the Hammer, good people. I know we have listeners out in the Hammer. We're not going to begrudge your area. But with Menzel, he's also got to be in shape. The CFL is a running league, and I don't mean in the sense of just running backs. I mean quarterbacks move. You got to be quick on your feet to really be successful in the CFL, as Warren Moon has shown in his day, and then Doug Flutie in his time, and now Menzel has the opportunity. Health-wise, so far so good, correct?
Correct. I totally agree with what you just said. I mean, it is a wider field, so he has that room. But as I said before, looking at his college highlights, he was a run-and-gun quarterback. Yeah. And he would take those risks that are expected of them in the CFL. So we'll see. I'm going to reserve judgment until I see a couple of snaps at least, if not a whole game out of him, which we won't get on Friday because it's an exhibition game.
Yeah. All right, Richie Incognito. He wants out. He wants to resign. He wants to get out of football. He asked the Bills, hey, let me go. I'm going to retire. So he retires. The Bills are like, wow, caught us by surprise, but yes, we will retire you. Then a few days later, comes back and says, no, put me back in, but I don't want to play in Buffalo.
Well, Mr. Incognito was at a gym in Florida, and I guess he had an episode of paranoia, thought that the government was spying on him, threw a dumbbell at a gentleman.
A dumbbell.
Got arrested. What else? With his very erratic speech pattern, I think the man was high out of his mind.
Oh, blown away in his mind. Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's time for Richie Incognito to get professional help and to stay out of football. And I think you Buffalo Bills fans are mighty lucky that he decided to retire and not come back to Buffalo.
Or a bad thing. We'll see how
it is.
I don't know, man. You know, there's so many podcasts, so many people are riffing on it. I just thought I'd get the Chowder, Jimmy O'Reilly's opinion on it. You don't want to kick a guy when he's down. Obviously, Richie Incognito is down at the moment, and hopefully things work out for him. He's taking a lot of shots, and we're going to talk a lot of Bills football and in our later podcasts as we get closer to the start of the season. But I wanted to get you at least once before the season starts saying, "Go Bills." Jimmy O'Reilly.
It's happen, buddy.
Oh, wow. It's about the leading. Come on, Jimmy. No? Come on.
No, sir. Go Pats, baby. Go Pats.
All right. Lex Cunningham, Jimmy O'Reilly, the Pure Garbage Podcast. We'll be back. More NFL. Keep tuning in. Go Bills.
Thank you for listening to the Pure Garbage Podcast. You can find us on Podbean,
iTunes,
Google Play,
Stitcher,
SoundCloud,
and Twitter at Pure Garbage Pod.